Hi, I'm Allison Bennett, 29, the daughter who always paid her own way. At Sunday dinner, my father's fork hit the plate as he said, "Hand your apartment over to your sister. She deserves it more." The word no barely left my lips before a glass of red wine exploded across my face, acid heat soaking my blouse, dripping down my chin. And while I blinked through the sting, Natalie held up her phone, grinning, live streaming my shame to thousands. That night, the real betrayal began. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. Growing up, I learned early that fairness didn't live in the Bennett house. Natalie forgot chores? Dad laughed it off. I missed one? I scrubbed dishes until midnight. At 16, I worked weekends at a diner. Every tip went into a jar for college. That same year, Natalie got a brand new phone. School necessity, my parents said. I asked why. Dad's answer never changed. She needs it more. At 18, I gave up a design internship. They said Natalie's acting lessons mattered more. At 20, I worked doubles to cover her unpaid bills. When her phone got cut off, I paid. When her rent was late, I covered it. But when I needed help with textbooks, I was told, figure it out yourself. At 22, while I fought student loans, Mom and Dad surprised Natalie with a shiny new car. The keys sparkled in her hand, while I was still riding the bus to work. "Don't be jealous, Allison," Mom said. "Family supports each other." Support felt a lot like sacrifice. The pattern never changed. Natalie's mistakes were learning experiences. Mine were proof I wasn't good enough. Her failures were cushioned. Mine were thrown back at me. Sometimes I wondered if they even noticed the difference. Birthdays, graduations, late-night calls when I was sick. My milestones passed quietly, while Natalie's smallest achievements turned into parades. At 24, I moved out. Not for independence, for survival. I built my studio from scratch, took every gig I could, worked through the night on designs, living off cheap takeout and black coffee. And finally, I bought my apartment, my first real safe place. But to them, it wasn't mine. It was just another thing Natalie could take. And when I walked into the print shop last week, I didn't know how far they'd go to strip it from me. What they said that day still makes my blood run cold. The week after that dinner, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Not from clients. From people who'd seen Natalie's live stream. Clips of me dripping in red wine were circulating. "Look at this selfish sister," the captions mocked. Some strangers laughed. Others called me heartless. Natalie reposted the best comments, adding fire emojis. She thrived on my humiliation. And my parents? They stayed silent. At the studio, I tried to drown myself in work. Sketches, logos, client briefs. But the sting followed me everywhere. Linda noticed first. "You okay?" she asked, sliding coffee across my desk. I forced a smile. "I'm fine." But I wasn't. Because silence at home wasn't peace anymore. It was plotting. Mom's voicemails grew stranger. "Allison, come over. We need to talk about Natalie's future." Future? She had wrecked mine, and still they rallied around her. Then came the late-night knock on my apartment door. When I peeked through the peephole, there she was, Natalie. Hair perfect, ring light in hand. She smirked at the camera. "Special surprise," she whispered into her phone. I didn't open. She stayed 20 minutes, streaming from my hallway, calling me a coward. The next morning, clients asked questions. "Everything okay at home?" I swallowed the shame and nodded. But the cracks widened. Bills arrived from damage I never caused. Subscriptions I hadn't signed up for. Deliveries charged to my card. Natalie had stolen more than my peace. She'd taken my old spare key. I changed the locks that afternoon. And still, a part of me wondered if Dad had given her another copy. By then, I slept with the lights on. Every creak in the hallway made me jump. I wasn't afraid of strangers. I was afraid of family. And maybe worst of all, I started to doubt my own mind. Was I overreacting? Had years of being dismissed made me question what was obvious abuse? Every message, every glare from Natalie online, felt like proof I wasn't imagining it. One night I even dreamt. I walked into my apartment and found strangers inside, cheering Natalie on while she threw my belongings out the window. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat, and realized my fear had followed me into sleep. Through it all, one question gnawed at me. How far would they go? How much would I lose before enough was enough? And then came the night when my grandfather stepped in, and everything shifted. I should have known then the war inside my family was only beginning. The night my grandfather stepped in should have been a turning point. But instead, it lit the fuse. I returned to my apartment, still damp from wiping the wine out of my hair, still shaking from Stephen's fury and Natalie's laughter. Grandpa's words echoed in my head. "You don't deserve this treatment. No one does." I wanted to believe him. But when I slid my key into the lock, it wouldn't turn. At first, I thought my hands were trembling too much. I tried again. Nothing. My breath quickened. I pressed my forehead to the door, listening. And then I heard it. Natalie's laugh. Sharp, mocking inside my home. I pounded on the door. "Open up, Natalie," I shouted. The hallway light flickered, my heart pounding so loud it drowned everything else. The door cracked open, and there she stood, leaning against the frame. Her phone angled toward me, the red recording light on. "Well, look who showed up," she purred. Her eyes glittered with triumph. "This is my studio now." I froze, staring past her shoulder. My couch, my artwork, my home turned into her stage set. "How did you get in?" I demanded. Natalie twirled a key between her fingers. "Thanks to Mom, she had a spare. Funny how family comes through for you when you need it." The betrayal knocked the breath from me. "Get out, Natalie," I snapped. Her smirk widened. "Or what? You'll cry to Grandpa again? Go ahead. I'll be live in 10 minutes. Telling the world how you abandoned your own sister." She slammed the door, the sound vibrating through my chest. I staggered back, my fists clenching, rage boiling hotter than the wine that had burned my skin days before. By morning, the nightmare spread online. Natalie streaming from my living room, her voice sickly sweet. "My selfish sister won't even share her apartment. She doesn't care about family. But I'm chasing my dreams. And I know you all support me." Comments flooded in. "She's heartless. What kind of sister does that? Give her the apartment." Strangers judged me while she lounged on my furniture. My name trended for all the wrong reasons. Clients started pulling away. I was losing more than a home. I was losing my reputation. I called Mom, desperate. "Patricia, tell me you didn't give her that key." Her pause said everything. "Allison, she needs a chance. You have stability. She doesn't." I nearly dropped the phone. "Stability? I bled for every inch of that apartment. You let her steal it from me." But Mom's voice hardened. "Enough. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Support your sister, Allison. That's what family does." I hung up, my hands trembling so badly, I almost dropped the phone. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Every creak outside my door felt like another invasion. Natalie's laughter echoed in my head. Her smirk burned into my memory. And for the first time in years, I realized this wasn't just sibling rivalry. This was war. And the next move would decide everything. The morning after Natalie's live stream, my phone lit up with messages from clients. Some were polite, others blunt. "Allison, we can't afford drama tied to our brand." My stomach twisted. This wasn't just about family anymore. This was about my livelihood. I called Grandpa. My voice cracked as I explained everything. The lock changed. The live streams. The lies. He didn't hesitate. "That's enough," he said. "I'm calling Diane." Diane Hayes, Grandpa's attorney. Sharp as broken glass. Steady as steel. When she arrived at my apartment, she flipped through my lease papers with quick precision. "This is trespassing," she said. "She has no right to be here. And if your father is backing her, that makes him complicit." For the first time in days, hope flickered. Within hours, Diane had drafted a cease and desist letter. A process server taped it to my door. But Natalie only mocked it, posting a video of herself holding the letter, laughing. "Look, my sister's scared," she sneered. "Paper won't stop me." I burned with shame. But Diane's calm never wavered. "Good," she said. "She just handed us evidence." Stephen doubled down, hiring his own lawyer. They argued Natalie was just borrowing unused space. Patricia stayed quiet, her silence slicing deeper than words. For days, the battle dragged on. Natalie went live again and again, painting me as greedy, heartless. Her followers piled on. My inbox flooded with venom. But then court day came. The Toledo courtroom was small, yet the tension was crushing. I sat beside Diane, my hands damp, my heart pounding. Across the aisle, Stephen leaned back, his face smug. Natalie tapped on her phone, smirking like she'd already won. Their lawyer droned about family duty, about me abandoning my sister. Then Diane rose. Her voice sliced through the room. She presented my lease, receipts of payment, and with perfect timing, screenshots of Natalie's own live streams, where she bragged about my new studio. The judge's expression hardened. "This," he said, "is unlawful occupation." Natalie's smirk faltered. Stephen shifted in his seat. "Ms. Natalie Bennett," the judge continued, "you are ordered to vacate the premises within 48 hours. And Mr. Stephen Bennett, you aided this violation. You will pay a $750 fine and complete 6 months of probation with anger management classes." The words hit like a hammer. Stephen leapt up, shouting, "This is ridiculous. But the judge silenced him with a glare. Natalie's face crumbled. Her followers couldn't save her now. And me? For the first time in weeks, I felt the tide turn. But I didn't realize yet. Winning in court was only the beginning of the real battle. 2 days later, the sheriff stood in the hallway outside my apartment. Natalie dragged out boxes of clothes and filming gear, her face pale, her phone clutched tight. But no live stream this time. Stephen hovered behind her, muttering about injustice, while Patricia trailed in silence, eyes fixed on the floor. When the locks were changed back, Diane handed me the new keys. "You fought for what's yours," she said. "Don't ever forget that." I walked inside, my chest tight. Everything looked the same, yet nothing felt the same. The couch, the walls, the art, all tainted by betrayal. I thought reclaiming the apartment would bring peace. Instead, it felt hollow. That night, I sat on the couch staring at the walls I'd once painted with pride. Now, every color carried echoes of Natalie's laughter, her videos, her lies. And I knew this wasn't home anymore. It was a scar. Weeks later, I listed the apartment for sale. The market was hot. A young couple bought it quickly. Their excitement contrasted with my exhaustion, but I signed the papers without regret. With the money, I rented a clean, quiet one-bedroom across town. Plain walls. No history. Just space to breathe. Grandpa visited often, sitting at my kitchen table with his coffee. "You did the right thing," he told me. "Family doesn't mean handing over everything you worked for. Family means respect. And when they don't give it, you draw the line." His words settled deep. I blocked Stephen. I blocked Patricia. I blocked Natalie. No more messages. No more guilt. Months passed. I poured myself into my work. And with time, the pain dulled. My studio grew. Clients returned. And slowly, I built a new life. One free from the weight of their entitlement. Looking back now, I realized the lesson wasn't about an apartment. It was about me. About knowing my worth. Protecting it. And refusing to let anyone, even family, define it for me. So I'll leave you with this. Have you ever had to choose yourself? Even when it meant losing people you love? Tell me in the comments. Because if you're standing at that crossroads, let my story remind you, you're stronger than you think.